Welcome back. It's Monday. I know we've been off for a couple weeks here, spring break last week, but all things VA loan. Got my host, Aaron Duey, here, and we have Jeremy Ragon with Florida Homes as well. He is a veteran and a real estate agent, also an experienced house flipper, renovator there too, so he's got a well-rounded expertise in that area coming from that side. And as always, our goal here today on the show is to squash the myths of the VA loan. And
there's a ton of them.
There's a ton of them, and we can chip away. The first one I want to attack here is giving the confidence. How can we give the confidence? Because one of the obstacles that we see is the listing agent not really promoting the VA offer, or not even offering VA as an option when they on their MLS listing. Jeremy, you still there with us? I know you kind of froze up here a little bit.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. All right. We've got your picture there. At least we can hear you anyway. In your experience as a veteran, I guarantee you've probably run across some of these situations of agents, the listing agents, not even putting the VA on there, or really not confident when you're giving them a VA offer. What are some of the things that you've seen?
As a world of realtors, they should definitely announce the VA offer a little higher than others, as known that it is going to, a hero family. They should announce that to the seller. It is a guaranteed income. Military has great pay, and it's coming in. They shouldn't have to announce what are your last 3 paychecks of each month. You have orders, and it's coming in, so it should be guaranteed. The seller should be real proud of that.
What do you think is the core issue? And Aaron, if you want to chime in, what do you think is really the core issue? Because if there's one thing that's taught by a lot of lenders, it's taught obviously at the boards. VA, we see all this training going on about VA loans, yet for some reason it doesn't seem to crack too deep into our agent field, and therefore really be accepted as is. Because to me, as a lender, it's the best loan out there, in my
Absolutely.
opinion. Aaron?
I mean, to me, you have somebody like Jeremy was saying that, the income is solid, and you know what the income is, and, it's pretty base, right? It's not going to change. A lot of things that I think realtors just aren't sure of. Is this person really going to get approved? And is it going to be harder to get somebody approved VA? And will the property pass the VA test? And so those are myths that I see. What about you, Jeremy?
Absolutely. A lot of sellers think they're going to bypass the VA because their home may not pass inspection, or it's a lot deeper, thorough inspections. The only real true thing difference is the WDO. The home inspection is a home inspection, a sale is a sale, a loan's a loan, but you're going to have every VA loan will have a WDO, wood destroying organism. So myself, military for 20 years, and now in real estate, walking through hundreds and thousands of houses, I always look for those soffits or those boards or those deckings that are wood rot. There's another thing they'll hit on is WDF, a wood destroying fungi, which is, algae or something on your outside deck. So as long as we can fix those, that's the only extensive thing in a home inspection.
In the WDF, what I've seen a lot of people do is just go out there with bleach water and cleans it right up.
Power wash it off.
Yep, done.
Yep, absolutely.
Done.
Jeremy, what house have you sold in Florida that you have not done some sort of WDO, whether officially or unofficially?
Well, definitely cash offers. Certain inspections aren't needed. But if it is required WDO, I've sold to plenty of military, and the WDO, it's fixing a couple boards. The homeowners always want to sell, and there's no problem spending $200 to $500 on replacing a couple boards, or like Aaron says, some bleach or some pressure washing real quick on the boards.
Well, I guess my point is why I asked the question is everyone who's buying a home like you said, well, if they're not, they don't order a home inspection, to me, they're crazy. Whether you're paying cash or whatever, unless this is a gem of a property and you're going to tear it down anyway, or you're going to tear it down anyway. But I mean, most home inspectors are going to do some level of WDO on that property because it's Florida.
It's in inspection.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's not like it's just WDO. The report is required to give to the lender on the VA versus, actually having that report done on any other loan.
Yeah, they're definitely all about the same. It's just not always required, but on a VA, it's
right.
definitely required.
Now, on that, in every contract, FHA, conventional, VA, what USDA, all of them have in that contract something for a percentage towards WDO repairs, does it not?
I know they can pay up to, I want to say, 3% of military's closing cost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe there's a certain percentage for the WDO.
Okay. I didn't know if it was written into the contract automatically with the NEFAR contract where it's already in there talking about WDO and repairs up to like 1% or something like that.
Not that I've seen. They can put it in there in additional remarks, always add something.
Sure.
You can always counter offer and put it in, once you go to sign, you can always put it in there. Okay,
Right.
VA is buying a house. We need this, we need that. We're going to give you your asking price, but we're also going to ask in the additional remarks that you help us out with 3% closing cost
Mm-hmm.
and, remediate all, if any, WDO.
Right.
Well, I know that, one thing that a lot of buyers and sellers aren't totally aware of is that, yes, it is 100% financing, but it's not 100% to the table because the borrower still has to bring closing costs, correct?
Yes, Aaron, you are correct. Absolutely. I've had a lot of people come on board and say, we're looking at these houses. I'm approved for this. It's awesome. I don't have any closing costs. I don't have to put any down payment. I'm ready to go. Do you have any money in the bank? No, none at all. I'm like, well, we, that's a misconception. The VA
Right.
definitely does not have to put down a down payment, not 20, not 3%, not 10%,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone's going to have those closing costs unless you ask the seller to pay your 3%, which
Right.
the 3% on certain home values could be enough for, that VA buyer's closing costs.
And there's a lot of down payment assistance programs with the Hometown Heroes right now that gives you basically a 5% equity advancement on your property that you do have to pay back when you refinance the house or you sell it. But having 5%, that's going to go take care of all those closing costs.
Good to go.
It's a fixed rate. You can't buy the rate down. It's a bond loan. And any additional money is going to go towards paying down the principal. So something like that's a great option for those buyers that truly don't have any money or thinking they can walk in with zero money.
I found most of the time they said it is kind of that, I want to say, middle-aged veteran who their friends have bought homes with VA loans, or they already had a VA loan before, but didn't realize that the real estate agent put the seller concessions in and they moved with little to no money out of their pocket,
Right.
not realizing they did pay for it. It's because they paid a little bit more for the home and, the seller concessions were cut back. That's what always made, because I was trying to figure out where were they led, who told them that they can do it with nothing out of their pocket, but it's because the seller is contributing towards that. I always wondered where that myth came from.
I'd say, Aaron, we know, live by the gouge, die by the gouge.
Yeah.
Meaning, don't ask your friend, ask a professional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. One of the other things that people are unaware of, especially sellers, is that on average, your VA buyer is going to have a credit score higher than that of a conventional buyer or an FHA buyer. The average credit score for a VA buyer is about 723. Which is an excellent credit score. It might have something to do with their commanders, making sure that you don't want to stand in front of your commander of the base and say, yeah, I'm sorry you're getting those calls and I'm not paying my bills. But yeah, credit score is a big deal. And so they're typically more qualified than other credit scores. Do you see a lot of that, Jeremy?
I've seen different situations of having secret clearances. If you're in a certain job in the military and you're not keeping up on your finances, you can lose your job.
Mm.
They don't want that to happen.
That's a very good point. Yeah. Yep. Jeremy, you mentioned something pre-show we were talking about that's, or actually, I guess it was the actual closing costs, not needing to have their closing costs. They do need to have their closing costs, but we can arrange for the seller. And you were saying 3%. It's actually 4%
Max
for a VA. They can get 4% in seller concessions versus a conventional loan with less than 10% down is only 3%. Obviously, FHA is 6%, but also, Aaron, I'm going to ask you to put this out there. Is the ability for an additional 4% as an incentive for the seller to put out there for that veteran to buy their home and help them pay off some debt and so forth?
Correct. I have a deal that a couple of deals that I've done here in the recent month, and I got a couple in the hopper right now that literally the seller was going to give them 4% max towards closing cost, which is great. So that helped them do a lot of things. And then we got 5% from the bond program, Hometown Heroes. So I took the 5% from the Hometown Heroes, used that towards closing cost and principal reduction, and then took the money from the seller, the 4%, and I used that money towards paying down a car loan, paying off a car loan. One of the ones I just recently did, I took $475 out of his monthly net outgoing, and by paying off a car. So you can do 4 and 4. You can pay 4% towards closing cost and 4% towards anything else as an inducement to buy my home versus somebody else's. And it's really a kind of a cool thing that, honestly, you could ask 98% of the lenders here in Jacksonville and they'd say, oh no, you can only do 4% max, which isn't the case. So when it's a buyer's world, like it kind of is getting to a little bit now, you can go in there and ask for 3 or 4%, and I can set you up with this Hometown Heroes program and then turn around and use the other to pay off debt. That's not a bad deal at all.
That's definitely a great deal, Aaron. I seen your post the other day about helping that family out. That's amazing.
Yep. That's how it works.
I want to also say that some families, military families, moving around and coming to Florida, we've had situations where they have a lender in Pennsylvania, a lender in California, and they don't represent the hometown heroes.
Right.
So either they've had to switch or they just miss out on that great benefit.
Sure. And we're not trying to take business from another lender by any means, but if we have a program that's going to better suit and benefit the veteran, it's all about the veteran. It shouldn't be about, the lender himself.
Right. Jeremy, you're out there. You are you flipping houses or doing a lot of renovations? Because what do you? Because you kind of have this side business going on. Tell us a little bit about that.
So after recently retiring from 20 years in the military, I got into real estate. My fiance is a mentor. She's been in real estate quite a few years. And so we always have our brokers, our bosses to go to, and, my significant other always to go to, because our significant others are always right.
Yeah, for sure.
So additionally on top of that, I've shown a lot of houses. I've only been in real estate a year and a half now. I've probably got rookie of the year my first year for closing 14 transactions my first year.
Congratulations. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I just see the possibilities, not elsewhere, but additional. So I have started investing in real estate and, started flipping houses and seeing what's out there and having crews doing it, meet different contractors and trying my piece in that as well. I want to also add that the additional benefits that the VA has, all these things we're talking about are amazing. We don't want to take away from other states, but we don't want them to miss out what they can get in Florida. It's a great Florida benefit, the Hometown Heroes. I'm also an affiliate with Homes for Heroes. With all those benefits added up, Homes for Heroes, I give back 25% of my commission to help out towards closing costs. So if a VA person is looking for a realtor, if not me, I
Mhm.
would say in every state nationally, there are Homes for Heroes agents. Go with one of them. They give back, you know.
And that's a great program. That's definitely a great program. I believe, doesn't the title company have to do something as well?
We'll have to transfer them the documentation that way they see, and then
Hmm.
it's on closing disclosure or the Alta that
Nice.
money is being transferred.
Sure.
It's a paper really.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a cool, that's definitely giving back, much like I do with the K9 for Warriors, because, what's separating you apart from everybody else. And if you're not doing something for somebody else, you're not, you're just like everybody else. That's for sure. So thank you for what you do for our veterans on that. That's awesome. Now, you do that for firefighters and police officers as well?
Absolutely. It covers teachers, all medical fields, firefighters, police officers, military, and veterans.
Very cool. Very cool.
Jerry, what is, reason I was asking the question about the renovation and wanted to lead into it is, what are the opportunities, in the greater Jacksonville area as far as someone who may want to, get a VA renovation loan, as we do here at Loan Depot, coupling with you, finding one of those houses. It sounds like you've got some reliable contractors on a list that can help them out from that standpoint. But the opportunities there are, especially as we push west, into some of the older homes down in Green Cove Springs and so forth, for getting one of those older homes and renovating it and really putting yourself in a great equity position when you get it updated.
There's definitely a possibility out there. Jacksonville is huge and growing every day. Um, what is it, the biggest landmass city in the United States?
Right.
But there is definitely a lot of older homes. There's possibilities everywhere. You might have to put more money into it. You might have to just go inside and paint it and change the knobs, and the military is used to a little bit of sweat equity. I would say it's for the long run. It's for the money. It's for you. Build your equity. There's definitely a possibility.
Right. Right.
I seen one actually just come on the market. I got an email for one about 10 minutes ago. It was down in Orange Park. Beautiful home. Believe it's about a 2018, 2019 home, 2-story, 4-bedroom, 2,300 square foot,
Wow.
$60,000. But it caught on fire, so there's significant fire damage.
Ah.
So it's going to have to be rebuilt. But really, it's just one bedroom that goes through the roof. But they're only asking 60,000. You rebuild that, you put 60,000 into it, you got a $400,000 home.
And it's something like that with Loan Depot here. We don't have a cap on our renovation. We could literally go in there and do a renovation loan for a veteran and take that and basically improve the entire house, much less the area that caught on fire. So that's a huge, huge benefit with those renovation opportunities. So if you have a VA veteran out there, Jeremy, tell them we got a plan for them.
Absolutely. Is that the 203K?
It's a VA renovation. It's kind of like the 203K, but it doesn't have a cap.
Amazing.
Same concept, but just in my opinion, a little bit better.
Well, and all the benefits of the VA benefit. You're not
Yep.
over into FHA with mortgage insurance and everything else.
You're not having a down payment. You're not having anything. We're going to go in there and appraise the house as it sits. We're going to get the bid from the contractor that y'all choose. We're going to put that together with the appraisal, add them all up, and be able to create a value so we can do the improvements that are needed. Somebody has a brand new home all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. A great opportunity, I think, for even the active duty guys.
Absolutely.
Whether single or married, to go and purchase a small fixer upper, and whether they rent it out. Rents are high right now, so renting it out is a huge cash flow opportunity. But to get in there and leverage that property either way, either just for an equity split when you do get transferred again, or rent it out, or just simply sell it and buy a bigger home with a bigger down payment.
As long as you move into it, intend to occupy within 60 days, that's all that has to be done. So, I mean, things happen in life, things change, but moving in, buying a home like that, and then turning around and renting it out 6 months later and moving into another home, that's the benefit of VA. You can still do it, both of them at 100% financing.
Jeremy, how do you think from a real estate side can, with your aid, but, Aaron and I know Aaron puts on his class all the time, quite regularly, trying to educate. How is there a different way to reach out to more of the realtors, or to encourage them and educate them? Because some of these myths that we talk about, whether or not they need money, or they do need money, or everyone thinks there's some special VA inspection, but there's not. How do you think it would be a more effective way to reach more of your real estate cohorts out there?
I'm with Florida Homes Realty and Mortgage. They definitely do VA lessons about all the different benefits of the VA. They make people aware of it, which is pretty good. I know other brokerages, they do the same. I've seen certain realtors on Facebook and social media, put posts out there. I think the lessons, training with different brokerages, that's letting them know. And social media, that's about the best we can do, really.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think from the aspect, I mean, if you're, there's some agents that obviously specialize just in listings, right? That they just love doing listings, and that's all they do is set their little honey traps. The fact that they're not being educated, knowing that this is a VA town. I mean, I think you have some statistics, Aaron.
One of every 4 homes that closes here in North Florida is VA veteran eligible. That's pretty big.
So by not being up on it, by not understanding the process and not selling, you're taking 25% of the buyers out of the market. And I think the other misconception, and Jeremy, agree or disagree with, I think a lot of see VA and assume, well, if the appraisal comes in, $5,000-$10,000 short, it's a veteran, they're not going to have any money to make up the difference. They assume the veteran doesn't have any reserves.
Yeah, the stat on that is that an average veteran has at least $15,000 to $20,000 in the bank, where in this case they're not having to put down any money, and so they typically have that money additional in their kitty somewhere. The other thing regarding appraisals is that we're able to take an appraisal that comes back in short, and we're able to rebuttal that directly with VA, not with the VA appraiser. We skip him, we go over him, we go directly to VA, and I would tell you that my run rate right now is about 94% approval on that when going in and doing a rebuttal to a VA appraisal, just because there's special ways to do it. Now, there's companies like, I don't want to call them out or anything, but like the Rocket, that the Rocket's not going to help you with that process. If it came in low, they're like, hands off. That's, you got to come up with the money or they got to drop it, which never should be the case. So having somebody experienced on your team and helping the listing agent in this case is we're able to rebuttal that appraised value and say, nope, this is what we think it is. This is why. And the buyer wants to buy it anyway. And here's a letter from the buyer that we're going to help him with. So, that should never be a deterrent from a listing agent wanting to sell something VA, that's for sure. Have you ran across that, Jeremy?
They definitely will always refer to cash. I have seen some turn in some stories and pictures of their family. I have seen that win the bidding war, in a sense,
Sure.
I mean, cash is cash. No one's going to
beat that.
Yeah, no one's going to, but even if someone's doing a conventional loan saying they're putting 20% down, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get approved. there's all these other factors, and they might come around and find out that their income is incorrect, and they miscalculate, and they really need to put 30% down to buy that house. Where I think the misconception, take away those mysteries of the VA and all the reasons why someone wouldn't qualify for a VA, almost putting them into a lesser category, when in reality they're stronger, because most of these veterans they're coming out and they're either getting some form of disability, so not having to pay the funding fee, obviously, but they're getting some form and they're getting hired by these government contractors and getting paid pretty well.
They are
post service.
Well, Jeremy, we wanted to thank you so much for your time today and coming on the show and giving a perspective from a veteran who happens to also be a realtor and out there kicking tail and taking names. And, something that's kind of dear to my heart is taking an old home and making it new again. So, if you're looking for an agent, and you're a veteran, this guy's got it all for you.
Yep. Jeremy, any parting thoughts?
Well, I appreciate your time, Tracy. I appreciate your time, Aaron. That's definitely what I'm trying to do out here. My new kind of little business called JJC Home Solutions. And we have to remember why we do it. And those initials are our children's initials. So we're doing it for
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
But the important thing out there, especially Jeremy, he experienced in his renovations and the contractors and so forth. Every agent should have some go-to, or at least their brokerage should have some go-to contractors, because the renovation loan, you obviously you can buy a lot more home if you're willing to purchase an existing home and update it to make it be new, versus the new construction, which is super expensive. So I think you go a lot further, and obviously those are looking at some of those older homes, some of the older areas, because they like the grown in trees and so forth. Jeremy's a go-to guy because he's got his crews locked and loaded. I'm sure would definitely help someone out on doing a renovation project.
It's all about having a team, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was gonna say one team, one fight, but yeah, you mentioned the rent. The rent has gotten pretty out of control, and it's due to the corona, lack of building houses, population still growing. So, home building is coming back, not as fast as it should, but so the rent is really high. And what I'm definitely gonna do is try to fix a house and get it ready for a military family. That's
maybe it needs an older home, just needs to add a room on to make it the size they need and so forth. There's a lot more options and that's out there than just buying new construction.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rent's up 35% over 2 years ago.
Well, not shocking. Yep. All right, gentlemen, let's get back to work.
Thank you.
Appreciate the conversation.